So we're talking about how the author of the story has a very interesting way of writing the story. He has the two cousins, and we're talking about pages 117 and 118. Has the two cousins, Charlie and Carlitos, and they're writing letters to each other. What do you have to say?
Well, also there's something like, whenever they're reading the letters, whoever wrote the letters is the first person, so it kind of switches off to first person.
Oh, it's switching off from first person. So you're talking about their point of view, right? Because we're looking at the point of view pages. So that's what's so interesting about it. So we want to say, who is the narrator of this story? Who's the narrator of this story? Who's the narrator? Libby? Charlie and Carlitos are both the narrators of the story. They both are telling the story. And it is, what point of view is it?
It's first person.
It's still first person point of view because Charlie's telling it, Carlito is telling it. They're both telling the story. It's in both of their own words, right? One is telling it, and they take turns telling the story because it's being told through letters. Very, very good. Very good. They both take turns telling the story. And what words are helping us know this? What words are helping us know that it is in first person? Ivy?
You know, because I isn't there?
I. Okay, so let's start at the top. We're going to start at our first, let's answer our first question first, because we're kind of talking about it all at once. We're having such a great classroom discussion about it, and you boys and girls are doing a great job figuring it all out, because this is a totally different type of story than the one we're usually used to reading. So our first question is from whose, it says from whose point of view? From whose point of view? And you know what, I'm not going to abbreviate it, POV, that's how I say it. From whose point of view? So this is what we're going to say because we're always going to say it in the form of a sentence. So Olive, what are we going to say here?
It is Charlie and both Charlie and Carlitos are telling this.
Okay, so both, I like that, both Charlie and Carlito are telling the story. And so we would want to mention what point of view it is from. We want to say it is, what point of view is it? Yes?
First person.
It is first person point of view. Very good. Can you see? I know, you're all the way over there. It isn't often that we have two people telling a story, and it would be first person point of view like that. But because they're writing the letters back and forth, it is first person. Charlie and Carlito are telling the story. You guys are so clever. You were not tricked at all by how this story is working. Yes, Teddy? That's all number one. That is all number one. Okay? Did you get all that, Teddy? So then we have to say, now we're going to talk about how do we know who is telling the story. Give evidence from the text, and how do we know that? So, how do we know? Well, first off, what do the boys do in the story? What are they doing while they're telling the story? What do they do? Elisa?
They write letters back and forth.
Yes, they write letters back and forth. So let's say that. The boys write letters back and forth. Good. And then we can talk about the words that they use, because that's always very important, because we're looking for the specific pronouns that they use. Kelsey?
They say like I, the, so.
Yes. They use the words I, me. What else do they use? The is not a pronoun. So they use the words I, me, we, I, me. Is there another one, Olive?
Us or they.
Me, us, we, and I'm going to say and we. And we'll call it a day on this. And we. Now, when we're looking for text evidence, it's good to have as much evidence as possible. It's better to have too much evidence than not enough evidence, right, boys and girls? So then you can really convince your reader that you know your stuff, that you really have the evidence to support your point. To say, yes, that is the point of view, that is what is going on in the story. I know what I'm talking about. And you guys definitely were able to figure it out today. How awesome are you? Pretty awesome. Now, I want to know that when you're doing your regular when you're reading for pleasure, as opposed to your academic reading, are you finding that you're noticing the point of view more when you're reading? Yes, are you? Yes. For the most part, it's pretty evident, isn't it? You can see what the point of view is as you're reading. You could see those clue words, they kind of jump out at you. Very good. Good job. So we can see the point of view. This one was a little trickier than most of them. We don't always have a story written in letters. So good job, all.